There's something important about every generation having an opportunity to grapple and examine and question an age-old story, and Unscrolled does that in the most incredible way.
The Bible, I see it as a living document. It's something that evolves.
It's the oldest book club in the world that's continuously getting new members.
It's an angry Bronze Age grab bag of Middle Eastern lunacy.
We all have strong feelings about it, but how many of us have actually read the bloody thing?
It's hard to read something like this without thinking about who is writing it. In essence, this is a celebration of very successful politicians.
The challenge is to roll up your sleeves and look for the good and see how it can change our lives for the better.
This launch of Unscrolled marks a book that is many, many years in the making.
There's a reason that Moses chose to just go up a hill and get it given to him in one night rather than to spend 3 years doing the book. I'm Roger Bennett. I'm the editor of Unscrolled, a book in which 54 brave individuals took on the Torah.
Truma is all about the architecture of the tabernacle. So who better to rethink it than an architect? The story of Truma is basically God being a very demanding client.
There was something about the gravity of the moment when the Ten Commandments are delivered, and then the mundane stuff that happens around it.
It could be a kind of Jewish Night of the Living Dead.
This particular portion was meaningful to me because it's my bar mitzvah portion. So it felt appropriate to reappropriate it.
It says that you are not allowed to wear clothes made of mixed fibers. And why would God care if you wore a polycotton blend? You know, it seemed like micromanaging.
Complaining becomes a national trait.
This is the one that made it in. What was on the reject pile, you know? You cannot wear clothes that were designed by men who have lain with other men. And then God's like, well, then they would have nothing to wear.
As I was writing it, what came out is that I came out.
You picked the moment where Miriam takes her brother and sets him into this basket in the Nile.
My big take was that Moses was the first open adoption.
There are these archetypes who feel so recognizable. Don't you know Jacob? Like this kind of like snivelly, slightly Machiavellian, bookish, like.
Yeah, I'm sitting right next to him.
Thank you.
Is there a greater meaning to this? Is there something symbolic? Is there something rich? Is there a tapestry here? I haven't got a clue.
This might be God's word. This might be a human text. It's sacred nevertheless, but we've got the permission and the privilege and the responsibility to make it our own.
I'd like to see a sequel. I'd like to see 54 Jews take on the New Testament. There's a franchise here, so let's milk this baby.